Rachel, I've got to tell you something. I'm quite angry with you. I recently had a big birthday.
How old did you turn?
I turned the big 3-0.
Wow, the 3-0.
That's not a wow. That's a oh no, disaster.
Well, happy belated birthday anyway.
Thank you, at last.
Yeah, at last.
Better late than never.
That's true. I'm sorry that I'm late, but happy belated birthday. Do you feel different now that you're 30?
I didn't even think about it until the day.
Oh.
And then my wife kept saying, "You're 30. How does it feel?" And I was like, first time I just didn't think about it. I was like, it's fine. Then she kept saying it. And I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, I'm 30. I haven't changed decades, like, since I turned 20.
That's definitely true.
Oh, it's not a great feeling.
Oh. What were you like in your 20s?
In my 20s? It was a decade of change, I think. At the start of it, single, going to university. At the end of it, married with a baby. So
wow, lots of changes.
Big contrast.
Yeah.
How old are you, Rachel?
I am 26.
Okay,
so
you're still young.
Mid-20s. I'm only 4 years younger than you.
That's a big 4 years. That's when you go from young to old.
Oh, no. I don't look forward to it.
I'm just kidding. But what were you like when you were a teenager?
When I was a teenager, I was really carefree because my only responsibility was to be a student, right? Yeah, and I was really into sports, so I was really competitive at the same time.
Wow, what kind of sports did you do?
I did field hockey, softball, and also volleyball.
Amazing.
Did you play sports in your teenage years, or?
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of football. Oh. Well, in North America, you call it soccer.
That's true, soccer.
Yes, but the one that you actually play with your feet, football, is I'm a massive, passionate fan of football, and I played a lot when I was younger.
You still play?
I'm thinking about retiring now that I have a baby. But yeah, 30s, 20s, teens, it's just a number, right?
That's true.
Age is what you make it.
Exactly.
Now that we've taken a listen to and a look at today's actual talk one more time, let's focus on some actual talk expressions you can make use of. So once again, today we are talking about age, talking about our age or other people's age. For example, in the dialogue there was the big 3-0, right? So, yeah, the big and then number. You can add the age. And you can say, in 2 months. In 2 months, I'll be turning the big 4-0. I'll be turning 40 years old. Make it interesting. Okay, one more time. In 2 months, I'll be turning the big 4-0. Or I'll be turning the big 4-0. One more. My grandmother just turned the huge 8-0. Huge is bigger than big, so you're just stressing that she has now become very, very old. One more time. My grandmother just turned, it was recently her birthday, and she just turned the huge 8-0 or 8-0. All right, belated, as I did mention, it means delayed, late, but you can use it like this as well. My aunt and uncle are on a belated honeymoon. Right, so you can say, happy belated birthday, but you can say that somebody could go on a belated honeymoon, okay? Another one. His love was too belated. Simply put, it was too late. 버스 놓쳤어요. 기차 놓쳤나요? Anyhow, it's too late. 너무 늦어버린 거죠. His love was too belated to matter to her. She gave up on him months ago. So now, she's not interested in him anymore. It's too late. His love was too belated to matter. One more, better late than never. You're saying that although it should have happened earlier, it's better that it did happen late. Better than nothing, right? So, better late than never. I know you're late for your appointment, but drive safely. It's better late than never. Meaning, if you don't drive safely, you can get into a car accident, and you may not even be able to go there. So, you're saying, you're late, I know, but drive safely. Better late than never. One more you can check out, related vocabulary is, it's better safe than sorry. Very similar. Here we go with one more sample sentence. I got a flu shot today. 주사 맞았어요. I didn't have to. You were not obligated to, but better safe than sorry. Okay, better safe than sorry. Meaning, it's better to get the flu shot or better to do something than to regret not having done it in the future. One more time. I didn't have to, but better safe than sorry, right? Okay, those are today's actual talk expressions, everyone. Practice them on your own and make them yours. Now let's take you to today's actual story.
My age? My age. Maybe I forgot. Let's just say I'm not young and I'm not old, but I'm still young at heart. Anyway, let's see. In my teenage years, I was actually rather focused, more so than I've ever been since. Focused on education, of course, and enjoying life. In my 20s, I was out kind of exploring the world, learning who I was. In my 30s, I focused on growing my career, and in my 40s, I'm just enjoying life and really still feel like I'm just getting started in some ways, but I'm looking forward to the adventure.
Okay, everyone, that was today's actual talk. Of course, thanks to Peter once again for the wonderful story, a very personal story about his age. Now, in the beginning, it did not sound like he wanted to openly tell us his age, right? Because he said something. But we'll take a look at that in just a bit. But it's wonderful that he actually focused on what he was like in his teens, 20s, 30s, and 40s, and so on. Because today's question was, talk about your age. What were you like in your teenage years, your 20s and 30s, and so on? So let's take a look. All right. Now, he mentioned a lot more, but let's summarize it and take a look at a few expressions. He says, let's just say I'm not young, okay, and I'm not old, but I'm still young at heart. I love this sentence. I think this is wonderful, okay. Now, but first of all, let's just say I'm not young and I'm not old. Now, when would you say let's just say? You would say that when you don't really want to open something, okay? When you don't really want to tell someone honestly about something. So, since he said, let's just say, it means he kind of wants to keep his age a secret. So he says, let's just say I'm not young and I'm not old. But he says, but I'm still young at heart. It's an expression that you may be familiar with, even in Korean, okay? When you say this, it basically means that you feel young. You may be 40 years old. You may be 70, 80, but you feel very young. 마음만은 청춘이다. 마음은 20대다. Okay, it's very similar to that expression. I'm still young at heart. Okay. And then he says, anyway, let's see. In my teenage years, he's talking about what he was like specifically. So, in one's teenage years, I was so-and-so. And then you can talk about in my 20s, I was. But here, let's check it out. First of all, let's just say. What you can say are, here are some examples. These are two short conversations, so we're going to break it up there. Jeff says, how did the date go? Perhaps a blind date. And then Beck says, let's just say I've been on better ones. So what does that mean? Now, let's just say is often used in more negative situations. So she's saying, well, I wouldn't say it was wonderful. Let's just say I've been on better ones. It was okay. Okay. She kind of wants to keep it a secret, but she wasn't too happy about it. Another one, Dawn says to Lisa, your artwork is incredible. It's wonderful. It's marvelous. And then Lisa says, well, I'm not a professional, but let's just say I really like to paint. So the point here is, I'm not a professional, but let's put it this way. Let me say, let's just say, let's put it this way, okay? So please make use of let's just say in the future when you do get the chance. And here we go with one more pattern. Remember, in my teenage years, in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 50s, for example, you can say in my teenage years, I was focused on verb ing form, or you can say a noun form. For example, you can say in my teens or teenage years, it's the same. I was focused on getting good grades. Perhaps when you were in high school, all you did was study, so you were focused on getting good grades. One more, last year, I was focused on getting married. Getting married. And this year, I am, or I'm focused on my husband. So in this case, in the beginning, getting married, it's the verb ing form. You can also say I'm focused on or I was focused on something or someone as well. Okay, those are our patterns for today, everyone. Make use of them, and that is a wrap for today's actual story.
My age? My age. Maybe I forgot. Let's just say I'm not young and I'm not old, but I'm still young at heart. Anyway, let's see. In my teenage years, I was actually rather focused, more so than I've ever been since. Focused on education, of course, and enjoying life. In my 20s, I was out kind of exploring the world, learning who I was. In my 30s, I focused on growing my career, and in my 40s, I'm just enjoying life and really still feel like I'm just getting started in some ways, but I'm looking forward to the adventure.
Well, as with any other topic, everyone, I do stress this over and over and over again, but just keep in mind that with anyone or in any situation, it is your responsibility. It's your job to make the conversation interesting. Of course, the other person can do that, but why not you be the one to make it a lot more interesting? Today, I guess we had a great example, a great conversation that you can keep in mind as an example. Just because you have to talk about your age does not mean that you only have to talk about how old you are. You can talk about so many more things. You can talk about how happy you are about your age, how you feel about your age, how you felt before, perhaps in your 20s or your teens, and how you think you might feel when you get older, for example. So talk about the details and always think, express your thoughts and feelings, all right? Okay, that is a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Next time, I'll be joining you back with another topic. We'll be talking about family, okay? So please tune in for that. I'll give you the details the next time you tune in. In the meantime, come to our homepage at www.ebse.co.kr and check out our scripts. They're all up there on our homepage. Okay, well, have a great day. I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.